No, tail to tail. Everybody is on the tail. All right. So these vectors are not necessarily perpendicular, right? They're just some random vectors like this, right? So who's U1, U2, and U3? All right. So U1 and U2 start off, right? We're going to shoo U3 away, and U1 and U2 actually, I need a plane. Who wants to be a plane? Come on up, come on, come on.
Let's go.
Everybody's gonna come up here, right? There's gonna be a lot of players involved. All right, you be a plane that contains these two vectors.
Oh yeah.
All right, you have to come over here, Dylan, now. Come over here so you can get the different angles.
Okay.
Maybe tilt that a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll put the plane on the other side, yeah.
So maybe tilt that a little bit. So now, we're going to project U2, we're going to project U2 onto U1. Okay? So let's find that projection, U2 onto U1. Who wants to be that? Come on. Stand up. U2 onto U1. So, what does... So this is not what we're calling V1, V2, or V1, U1, or W1 yet. Right? Can you let at least the class see? I mean, Dylan has to see it for sure.
Are you okay?
Where am I supposed to stand?
You're not here. I can't hear feedback from invisible people.
Okay.
Sharpen the vectors a little bit.
Okay.
All right. So who's U1 again?
Blue.
So you're projecting.
There we go.
You're projecting U1, U2. Raise your hand, U2. U2. You're projecting U2 onto U1. Right? And they're all on the same plane. Okay? So that's not quite the vector that we want, right? Because that's not. So U1. Who's U1?
Me.
So U1 is the first vector that we're going to use, right? And we want another vector that's going to be perpendicular to U1. So Christine's vector is not perpendicular to U1. It's going the same direction as U1. So we're going to want a vector that's actually perpendicular to U1. Somebody, come on up. So where is that going to be now?
Wait, what am I?
You're going to be perpendicular to U1. So that is...
You recording that? Oh my god.
Nah, I'm just standing here with the phone.
David, since you're there.
I thought you were invisible. I thought you weren't here doing it.
Yeah, it can be a ghost. You can hear ghosts.
So that is now V2. That's V2. Can you hold on to it? So V2 is this vector that is now perpendicular to V1.
U1.
U1. And V1.
Yes.
Because U1 and V1 are the same. Right? Okay. So now let's say goodbye to a few people.
Bye. Oh, bye. They're leaving
Okay,
me.
so now we have two vectors that are perpendicular to each other that are on the same plane. Does that make sense so far? Okay, so now U3 is back in the picture. This is the tail. And actually, we can move the tails, we can move these vectors around, right? We can move these vectors around. So let's move the tail of the new vector. Hold on to this. And that's V2, right? And V1/U1. And now we have a third vector that is probably not perpendicular to any of them, and certainly not perpendicular to the plane that they're on, right? So now what we want to do is we want to project this vector onto the plane. Who's coming up? We want to project that vector onto the plane. So let's tilt the plane so that we can see. So we have two vectors that are perpendicular to each other so far, And then now a third vector is going to get projected onto a plane.
Like that. I don't know what I'm doing.
So pretend that there is a light source over here, right? Directly perpendicular to the plane, and the shadow of this is going to come down.
Yes or no?
So you're
Is that
basically
good?
like copying his movements onto
Okay,
here.
so yes.
So that is this business here. That's that vector that is now created. Okay? But that clearly is not perpendicular to this plane. It's actually on the plane. So we want another vector that's perpendicular to that plane. So then you subtract U3, right? Raise your hand. You subtract U3 from this vector that we just found. Right? And then you're going to get this new vector. So who's going to be this new vector? You got this.
You can do this.
Am I subtracting?
Yeah.
So now we have that third vector that's perpendicular. Let's get rid of a few vectors. Thank you. And a few vectors. And now you have three vectors that are all perpendicular to each other. Right? So
Musketeers.
I need 3 volunteers. Who hasn't gone yet? So now, if you just take each of these 3 vectors, oh, you can go.
We have no support.
If you take these 3 vectors and then scale them. So who do you want to be? Okay.
Oh no.
All right. So the rest of you go away. Now we have these 3 vectors that are all of unit length. And they're all going in the same directions of those vectors that just left. But those vectors that just left are all perpendicular to each other. Now you have a set of 3 vectors that are perpendicular and of unit length. So now they're called orthonormal vectors. Okay? Does that make sense? All right, good. Thank you.